Hi, hello, it's your boy Nate. I read books because reading is sexy, and if you're not reading, you're not sexy. Somebody had to tell you.
Hello, November. October came and went, all in a flash. I had a really healthy reading month. I just was in the company of like very, very good books, I think, and quite varied. Did a total of 12 books for the month of October. Let's get into it. Start off the month with Uncanny Valley Girls by Zefyr Lisowski. This is a trans memoir surrounding the love and light film essaic writing around horror films and why they're so inherently queer. It goes to great classics, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as well as Scream. It's quite light on its film criticism, but it's quite heavy in the love for horror films and why we sometimes find so much comfort in them. Queer folks out there. Like when we look at the slasher genre, violence is so inherent with sex because there's something so violent about sex, about the body and what happens to it. And this was perfect. This was perfect for spooky season. So happy I started the month off with this. I actually read it as an e-arc, but who was this? Harper Perennial. Thanks, Harper Perennial, for sending this over. Just feels so good to have in the hand, and I just love the cover so much. It's the pink, it's the blood red, it's the morphed face there, all on a black backdrop. Incredible. If you like scary movies, you like the spooky stuff, and you want more trans writing, this is perfect. I thought this was quite good, quite strong. Next up, felt out of sorts a bit, so I had to return home. Couldn't afford a plane ticket back home, but I did have this lying around. We got Babitz with the big old tits. Eve Babitz, Black Swans, been holding this off for one of those rainy days. I was like, if I'm ever missing home, I'll pick this up. And boy, oh boy, so beautifully done, so beautifully rendered. It's sweet, it's melancholic, it's looking back at the past. All the parties are gone, the people too. Death is upon us, so death is on the mind, as Eve is really just looking back at a life. There's still that great charm that Eve Babitz writes through. It's less alcohol intensive, less drug filled, but there's still a lot of romance. I believe the first story is about jealousy, actually. I think it's so funny that, like, jealousy, out of, you know, the 7 deadly sins, it's the hardest to kill. How do you get rid of jealousy? And it's not something you get rid of, I think, until you age. It's just something that leaves you when you're a bit older, wiser. As older and wiser Babitz is here, she's still got plenty of charm. And I enjoyed this a lot. Actually soaked this in highlighter ink a bit. I actually think this is a lot stronger than Slow Days, Fast Company, but if you want rich LA writing and just the times, the fun times outside of the Didion depressed times, LA in that lens and regard, that is wonderful. And I think this is fun to get to a little later when you've made your introductions with Babitz. Can't wait to get through the rest of her catalog, and that'll be a sad day because I only have like 2 or 3 titles left, so. Okay, next 3 books, I'm sort of just gonna breeze through, sent to me by Homford Star, thank you, through DB Books, based here in Seoul. So, if y'all expats out there watching the channel, living in Seoul, DB Books got you. Got you. This is part of the Lovecraft Reimagined series where speculative Korean fiction writers work within the horror and intensity of H.P. Lovecraft's storytelling, all done in like the Korean context, published and translated, 2 by Janet Hong and 1 by Anton Her, through these really beautiful, lovely editions. Homford Star always does incredible work in book design. I just love their paper, feels so good. We got French flaps, and yeah, they're just so beautiful as objects themselves. Let's pick one up at a time. This is Come Down to a Lower Place by Seoyoung, translated by Janet Hong. It's about a girl whose punani stinks. It stinks real bad, and she wants to know what's going on down there. And she finds out at her workplace, it's not just coming from the bottoms of her dwelling, but the bottoms of her workplace. And in that is this strange discovery that is, one, an examination of the Korean female body under the patriarchy and how it has moved through so much, how it is still not understood, and how terrifying it is to be a woman in society. Beautifully done. There's this like really underlying current of the grotesque and this just like really icky feeling, like wanted to take a shower every time I finished a few pages of this because I'm just like, ew, yucky, yucky, yucky. That all comes to a very startling end. I think I loved this one the most out of the bunch, mostly because of how atmospheric it is. Another one by Janet Hong. This is The Call of the Friend by Jaehoon Choi. This is actually a graphic novel. We love a picture book. There you are. Oh, look at that. Spooky. Spooky. Two university friends. They're cool. They hanging out. They find the discovery of the suicide of a K-pop star, and that is linked to the disappearance of one of the friends. The friend visits his house and is completely not himself. And through that, some wacky shit happens, guys. Wacky shit. But yeah, lots of fun. I think I finished this literally in an hour or so, but definitely worth your time. It's a fun, quick one. It was definitely good for October. Last one is Alien Gods by Suhyeon, translated by Anton Her, and we love Anton. Very strong translation. This is about shamanism in Korea. It's about a girl who's doing research about shamanism, and through that, evil follows her. You dig around, find what's evil, find out the depths of it. Evil finds you, haunts you, gets you. Yeah, very good. Actually has ties to Come Down to a Lower Place because both deal with stench, and it's really interesting. I found it made me curious about like how stench works in horror. I never really thought about it because I mostly watch a bunch of scary movies. Also, mind y'all, I do have a Letterboxd. Okay, give film some love, but you really can't smell things through horror films, but you can write about smell, which I thought was interesting. I don't know why. Anyway, spooky, good, strong. I think it's the strongest out of the bunch here. Enjoyed this. Next up, as an e-arc, I did Heart the Lover by Lily King. This is already published, September 30th. We love Lily King here. Really enjoyed Writers and Lovers, and I had a good sense that I would like this. When I started, also in the middle of it, it was okay. I thought it was okay. Our narrator is in her senior year of college and is in a writing class. Are we surprised that the story is about writing? But it's a heavy campus novel, and she finds herself infatuated with two other guys. And it becomes this like complicated love triangle about your first love, where do you learn love, and how it makes an impression on you later in your life, and how those first loves still find you at times. By the middle of this, I wasn't really enjoying it so much. I think I needed a bit more plot. There was some really great snappy writing, great dialogue. Her characters are rich, they feel real. Here, I felt that they became more caricatures of certain male protagonists in your usual rom-com, and I thought it was meh, but by the end, something like spiritual happened, and I think I'll talk about this in an upcoming vlog, but something just hit me by the end, and I started crying. I was reading this on my phone. I just stopped in the middle of the street, all by myself, and I just started crying. And that's how you know a book's got you good. Lily King got me good at the end. I thought this was rich, beautiful. It has all the beautiful moments of like a Nancy Meyers or Nora Ephron film. But I think it slumps into more Emily Henry, just a tad bit smarter. But if you like Lily King and sort of just need like a frivolous read, I think this is perfect. Perfect for one of those like rainy, cold days where you need something cozy to get lost in. Next up, I did Don DeLillo's Libra, and this is just gonna sound so silly as to why I decided to pick this up, but Charlie Kirk. I'm not gonna go into all the politics of that, but what I was finding on X, formerly known as Twitter, was that people started like creating conspiracy theories around it, and I was just like, why does America do that? So I decided to pick up a story about Lee Harvey Oswald. This follows the days leading up to the JFK assassination, done through sort of historical fiction. What DeLillo does is mythologizes a serial killer by way of the stars. Did anyone know Lee Harvey Oswald was a Libra? I didn't. In usual Don DeLillo fashion, you just get incredible prose that you get lost in. I don't think it humanizes Lee Harvey Oswald, but you're given the peripheries, what had existed around him, and through that I think you develop a sense of empathy, but I think for the people around him more so than him. And I thought that was fascinating, and why America just has this like morbid curiosity around true crime and serial killers, and we put them out, all those Netflix documentaries. All this money is being pumped into it to tell these stories about these people that did horrible things. And you wonder why? Why do we continue to glorify the desensitization of violence, of crime. At what point will we not bat an eye when another school shooting happens? I'm just concerned that through America and its history of violence, from the very first, train robbery films done in black and white in the 30s, it's so incredible to me that, we are always fascinated by violence. I thought this was good. I had a good time with this. We don't talk about Don DeLillo enough on BookTube, and he deserves all the love because he's incredible. Love the man. Wow, speaking of further controversies, I read Woody Allen's debut book sent to me, What's with Baum? This is about a neurotic New York Jew who detests everyone around him so much that he just starts talking to himself. So it's about Baum, who just talks to himself throughout the entirety of the book. And through that, we get fun pokes at cancel culture, what ultimately happens to a person, and plagiarism. Yeah, I thought this was fine. It's one of those sort of I'm thinking early 2000s Woody Allen films that are B, C average. They're fun and frivolous. All the good writing happens at the beginning. There's fun one-liners, but near the end it sort of fizzles out. It's definitely fan service if you enjoy Woody Allen movies or just need a fix for an okay Woody Allen movie. This will get you good. But yeah, I thought this was fine. It actually surprised debut. I can't speak today. Oh my god. Tongue-tied. Does anyone do mouth exercises before they film themselves? Because sometimes I'm just blah, 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 blah. It surprises me that this is Woody Allen's debut novel. He's written plays and short humorist pieces, not a full-length novel. I think with a better editor, he probably could have tightened his sentences a lot more, and this could have been much stronger. I could definitely see this as a film, and I think it actually works better as a film than a book. Next up, did Intimations by Zadie Smith. And I mostly did this because I was flabbergasted by the impressive debut novel that was White Teeth. And I was I need more Zadie Smith. This is the next best thing that I had. This is a pandemic book. This looks at the early moments of the pandemic, the ennui, and what we were thinking about, and all of the sort of political peripheries that were occurring deep in the loss of so many people in this massive viral outbreak. Girl, whatever. This was just fine. Honestly, this could have been a Substack post. This did not need to be 100 pages. Girl, get an editor. Make this a Substack post. And I'm so glad I did not spend money on this. $10.95, Strand Bookstore. Look at that. This is from the Strand Bookstore. It made its way to Seoul somehow. So glad I saved my $11. Yeah, I thought this was fine. I think there's great strokes of brilliance here and there, but ultimately I think it's a work that falls on its face, mostly because of this admittance here. I was left with the useless thoughts of a novelist. What is it like to have a mind on fire at such a moment? Do you feel ever more distant from the world? Or has the world in its new extremity finally come to you? Honestly, writers during the pandemic, you should have made good use of your time, written good stuff, actual good stuff, and not silly things like this. I mean, it's of its time, and I'm sure if I had read this during the pandemic, it would have hit me a lot harder. With much time passed, and what was the blurb on this? There's a blurb on this where it was or maybe it was in the book. Because let me tell you, I was one of those people that started talking to their exes again during the pandemic. Girl, that was a mistake. I've left that to the past. I've left that in the pandemic, as we should with this. Next up, did Patti Smith's Bread of Angels, kindly sent to me by Random House. Thank you, Random House. This book will come out. This will be out by the time this video will come out. So you're all in for a treat. Will say this is an ARC. There it is, paperback. Feels good in the hand. It feels good. It's nice to carry around. This is a sexy book to carry around. Let it be known though that getting ARCs is not fun all the time because there's photos in this book, but because it's an ARC, the photos aren't printed in here yet. Okay. Y'all gonna enjoy this book with the pictures. I do not have any pictures at all. This is sort of a collection of essays that just further a very wondrous and curious life, I think. Patti Smith was just one of those right people, right place, right time, where she encountered so many different artists and different kinds of art, and during such a rebellious time. In that intensity of being alive, it's just such a rich life, and I'm always so fortunate to be in the throes of all that she has to offer. The book sort of begins with her early life as a young girl, her tomboyishness, and illness. Illness always haunts her throughout this book. With that, it also follows the backgrounds of like her albums, what happened on tour. She got this like massive concussion that put her in a neck brace for a while. I really loved that part. It was somewhere in the middle where the Ramones visited her and gifted her like a copy of Punk magazine and a bottle of tequila. And also William S. Burroughs came by and brought over a fish wrapped in newspaper and cooked it for her. Allen Ginsberg visited her as well. She also writes about her time writing Just Kids, which is a dear favorite of mine. But it's sort of just a hodgepodge of her life. By the middle of the book, I was just like, what is going on in this book? It's just a bunch of essays that don't really have a centrality to them. They all feel kind of loose until the very end where it punches you and you realize that through all of the physical ailments that she went through, you realize where her spirituality comes from and sort of this yearning and this need, profound need to be alive and make art around that aliveness. It's in those last few pages where I was just like, oh, God, I've been got. Yeah, it's just really beautiful. You really do see where her spirituality stems from and why sometimes it's a bit like hoo-ha. You see why through this book. Definitely fan service, gorgeous writing. I will say that the metaphors are a bit heavy from the very first page. It's a little out there, and the metaphors don't really come down to a grounded place to really situate you. You just sort of have to go along for the ride. I thought this was beautiful, poignant. Just love everything that Patti Smith does. Next up, did Deadeye Dick by Kurt Vonnegut. Honestly, so much happens in this book, but it's about the son of a father who is friends with Adolf Hitler. But there's a bunch of stuff. There's a decapitation, a fatal dose of radioactivity, and the annihilation of a city by a neutron bomb. It's just done in that usual Kurt Vonnegut political satire way. It's fun, it's kind of frivolous, and I kind of miss books like this. This sort of like, it's sort of funny to say, but like political satire that you can get lost in. I don't think we have that anymore. I think we're too serious about it. But Vonnegut, with such great sentences that I think are a bit better than Hemingway sentences, and funnier, hit the spot for me. I just loved getting lost in this like wacky world. Vonnegut's a wacky guy. There's so much humor in this, but also just a lot of loss, a lot of romance as well. I think it's mostly also about failure. How do you come home from World War II and call yourself a hero after, you know, so many deaths, so many shootings, so many bombings? How do you amount to being a hero in that way? What have you actually won? So it's about the failures that you come home with, coming to terms with those failures, but then also how failure is infectious and how it sort of streamlines its way through the bloodline, but also sort of through everything that you do. I think failure is inherent in that way, and I think this is, yeah, one of like Vonnegut's more sadder books because it's about failure. But like, I think this pretty much sums it up. There's this reoccurring motif throughout the book about how everyone sort of has this peephole where you look through it and you don't actually get to have a peephole until you lived a long life. But it's by the time you see through that peephole that you realize that everything is gone and you wish you had realized things a lot sooner. And through that, it's also about like how we live our stories, the lives of our stories, and how most of us exist just in the epilogue, and we wonder when we'll get to the good stuff. But here he writes, "We all see our lives as stories. If a person survives an ordinary span of 60 years or more, there's every chance that his or her life as a shapely story has ended, and all that remains to be experienced is epilogue. Life is not over, but the story is." And then you have great lines like this. "To be is to do, Socrates. To do is to be, Jean-Paul Sartre. Doobie-doobie-doo, Frank Sinatra." Stuff like that is just so fun. So witty, and I miss stuff like this. Let me know, anybody out there, let me know your favorite Kurt Vonnegut book. Mine is actually Breakfast of Champions. Just love his little doodles. Was quite upset that the only doodle I got was this little gun, and of course him on the back. Okay, last book of October, The Silver Book by Olivia Laing. This will be out November 11th. Read this as an e-arc by FSG. Thank you, FSG. This follows two lover boys. One who works as sort of the costume designer for Fellini while meddling in the film sets of Pasolini. all leading up to the assassination of Pasolini. This is Olivia Laing doing historical fiction BL, and I loved it. It was good. Yeah, it was just like gay and flirty, and I just realized how fun historical fiction can be. I think we need more books like this. It's film writing done through historical fiction and totally gay. Like, sign me up. I love that. Yeah, I think Pasolini is really interesting. I've only seen Solo, 120 Days of Sodom, and also Theorem. I think he's an interesting filmmaker. I don't think I particularly enjoy his films, but I think they're incredibly interesting. They have a lot to say. Same way I feel about Fellini. I think Fellini doesn't know how to edit himself, but it's in his like extravagant theatrics that I think just expresses who he is and how he tells stories. And it's fun to just like dwell in that extravagance sometimes. I think this year has been really heavy for me in terms of film. I like have done more film reading, just sort of like cranked out a bunch of more film writing through my letterbox. And I just want to get in the practice of being able to talk and write about films just as well, or as well as I try for books. And yeah, I think they're just like, it's interesting. Books, films, they're stories, and I like stories. And yeah, I thought this was an interesting presentation done by Laing, where I really enjoyed Funny Weather and how she talks about artists, but to talk about artists through fiction is, I think, an interesting field. You had great notes about Pasolini and sort of his politics and his moral stance on things and his taste in not men, but boys. I just thought it was interesting seeing in the presentation of a novel in this way. But if you want to learn more about Pasolini, I think this is a great book to dive into. And yeah, has me excited to watch more films from Pasolini and Fellini. What I found most interesting about this was that there weren't, I don't believe, any like sex scenes. I think there were like minor moments of kissing and fellatio, but I don't think there was like any graphic sex scene, and I think I was sort of expecting that. I mean, amazing. I would have loved a sex scene from Olivia Laing herself, but yeah, it's great that, you know, you can write a gay book and not have to have a sex scene in it. I thought that was interesting, and that is why it is a BL in my eyes. That's it. That's everything I read in October. Let me know what you read in October. I'd like to know. I love adding books to my never-ending TBR. And let it be known, I am a Blackwell's affiliate. So if you enjoyed me talking about any of these books, please consider using my affiliate link downstairs to pick up any of these titles. Blackwell's offers free international shipping, so for all my expats out there, this is a great site to do it. Downstairs. As always, be well, do good work, keep in touch.